Welcome to the Beyond Jiu Jitsu podcast. What is up, everyone? It's been a minute, but we are back. Happy New Year. Happy Christmas.
Happy New Year. Happy Christmas. Hanukkah. All that stuff. Adam Charles, Kieren Lefebvre, episode 124. We had an unfortunate 2-week hiatus, forced holiday.
Forced hiatus.
Yeah, Yeah, so if for regular listeners, you probably already know because we let you know on Instagram and whatnot, that unfortunately our Christmas and New Year's episode, logistically, we just didn't get in to record them because I had knee surgery at the start of December, and then
that was a little bit last minute. You had an opportunity and you just sort of jumped at it, hey?
Yeah, I just like surgeries. Yeah. So when someone was willing to do it.
You just put your name on random surgery lists.
That's right.
Just fucking take the call, potluck.
Yeah.
Appendix out. Yeah, I'm in.
I can do that twice, right? Let's go. Yeah, so, just schedules just clashed, and unfortunately, we didn't get our holiday episodes out, so we missed 2 weeks, but we're back today.
We're back.
And yeah, we're going to be continuing our positional series as well as a bit of a catch up as to what the holidays were about, how I'm recovering post surgery.
How are you recovering? Your jiggly knee.
Yeah, I got a bit of a jiggle knee. Yeah. So yeah, in a nutshell, just to bring everyone up to speed, I had prepatellar bursitis. Bursa is a big. Oh, it's not that big as mine was. You have bursas in. I'm not sure if you have them in all your joints, but you have them in a lot of your joints. But yeah, bursitis is essentially inflammation of the bursa. It's really common in your elbows, actually, bursitis. And a bursa is it's like supposed to be this paper-thin membrane. Imagine if you had an inflated balloon that was squashed flat. So it was there as a bit of cushioning, but also to aid with sort of lateral friction, right? It's just this sort of inflated balloon, so the two opposing layers can roll over each other nice and smooth. That's what your bursa does. So the prepatellar bursa obviously sits, right at the front of the patella, and listeners would know that I had previously in the last year had my bursa drained and cortisone injections and stuff because it was like chronically inflamed. But it got to a point where they were like, "Nah, man, we got to take it out," which is not a very common surgery at all. Even my physio had never encountered anyone who had had the surgery, and even the surgeon said to me that he only does like 2 of them a year.
Wow.
And this is a guy who probably does 2 ACL reconstructions a week.
Yeah.
Like the
2 a day.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the day that he saw me, he did like 5 or 6 surgeries that day.
Yeah.
He did a full knee reconstruction, not that same day, but a few weeks prior. And we were just chatting. He was saying how the patient stayed awake for the whole thing because you can choose to do that with I don't know if with all knee surgeries, but with a knee reconstruction, he said you essentially have like an epidural, like one of those nerve blockers in your spine. So you can stay awake for it if you choose to. And
man.
Yeah, I'm like, nah, bro.
Nah, man.
The dude stayed awake watching the whole surgery on a monitor. And I was like, And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, how long did that take? Thinking a knee reconstruction, put like 3-hour surgery, like guys sitting there watching it. And he's like, about an hour. I was like, what? That's crazy. I was like, so what? This thing's like a little 5-minute job. He's like, nah, it took like an hour as well. So it was like quite a decent surgery. That's not keyhole. They cut my whole knee open from top to bottom.
Yeah.
And so anyway, what's supposed to be a paper thin membrane, my bursa looked like, after it being removed, essentially looked like a fried egg, or like or looked like a clump of scrambled eggs. Yeah. Like it was this massively not paper thin membrane at all. No. Yeah, he said it should be thin, flat, like kind of smooth and like slimy, sort of as you would imagine something inside your body would be. But no, it was all like chronically inflamed and massive. And yeah, so now the joint itself is fine because the bursa sits right at the front. Going in for the surgery, they actually don't go into the joint at all. So it's not like doing meniscus surgery or any sort of ligament surgery where you're actually in the joint. Pre-patellar bursitis, right? The pre-patellar bursa sits right at the front. So the joint is fine. There's no recovery from the surgery for the joint. There's obviously the incision needs to heal, but there's just so much fluid in my knee, and it's not due to inflammation. Obviously, there was an initial inflammatory response, but the surgeon said, all this fluid, it's not inflammation. So it's not like, oh, I need to get on to some prescription anti-inflammatories and ice it and whatever. It's that your body internally is not supposed to have empty space, right? So the body's going, hang on a second, there's this big cavity there. I need to fill it like this, so it's pumping it with fluid to fill that cavity. And over time, the fluid will kind of, the same as if you injure something and you twist your ankle and it's swollen. Like, it's not like you get every time you have something swollen, it gets drained, right? Like that swelling, like all that fluid eventually reabsorbs, right? The swelling goes down and inflammation goes away and whatever. And so that's what's supposed to happen here. The fluid is supposed to eventually settle down, and then the two sort of, like the membranes or whatever, like that cavity kind of closes and seals. But it's taken a bit of time, I mean, it's only been 4 weeks, but I've had a can of Coke's worth of fluid drained out of my knee. And this put it into perspective. So he told me that naturally you have about 0.5 mils of fluid in your knee. That's just naturally what sits in there, 0.5 mils. So I went and had mine drained.
0.5 mils.
Yeah, so half a mil, right? You have half a mil of fluid that sits in your knee.
Yeah.
So after the surgery, I had my knee drained, and he took 120 mils out of my knee. So quite a lot more than what's supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
And then it only took 5 days, and I went back and had it drained again. And the second time he got 150 mils out of my knee.
It's crazy.
And now it's still got fluid in it, but it should settle down. I mean, the initial drainages was just to help alleviate some of the pressure. It felt like, I don't know, did you see it when it was
zombie foot?
No, but when it was like fully massive and like a balloon that was about to pop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I got that drain to relieve some pressure. Whereas now it's not this big thing that feels like if you touch it, it'll explode. It's more this like jiggly
mess.
Looks like a waterbed when you poke it. Yeah. So it's, I mean, I can see how people find it gross. Obviously for me, I'm like, whatever, it's my knee. So it's not as cringe, but yeah, so I can't really train yet, but I am glad that I got it done when I did, because if I had missed that surgery, it then would have been pushed back to now in the new year, and would be sitting here having this conversation being like, oh, I'm having surgery in 2 weeks. And then by the time I recover, and then before you know it, it's March and I'm only just starting to roll again.
Exactly.
Whereas now, I mean, I can teach again at the moment. I can't really do anything kneeling, so I can't put my knee on the ground, but I can teach like I taught last night, and I'll teach again today. But yeah, not rolling yet. Hopefully it'll only take 1 or 2 more weeks for it that fluid to settle down.
Yeah. So you'll be back to training, hopefully in like maybe another 4 weeks.
I hope, because I reckon I put on about 48 kilos since the surgery.
I'm going to be chunky there.
Dude,
I'm looking on you, Jake.
I'm looking. Yeah, because unfortunately I've got like quite a bad habit that when I don't train, my diet doesn't change at all so to be honest, I think a lot of people have that habit.
Yeah.
Where
people get that mentality where they're like, oh, fuck it. It doesn't matter.
Well, no, yeah, that too. I have that as well.
Yeah.
But not even necessarily like that. I mean, if you're not doing any exercise, which is difficult when it's a lower body surgery, because, it's just, of course, there is a lot of exercise you can do with your upper body. Of course, I'm not saying there's not, but definitely in terms of cardio, it's harder to find when you can't go for a run, or you can't ride a bike, or you can't, it's just a bit harder. You're less mobile when a surgery's happened on a leg.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's be honest. You were never going to go for a run.
Bro, I hate running so much. It's, so it's also not even the whole, oh, fuck it mentality. I just have that, I'm now not burning any calories a day, through exercise.
Yeah. But
yet I'm still consuming 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 calories a day, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so that's obviously all out of balance and whack.
Yeah.
Then you add on top of that
the Christmas period,
classic Christmas period. And my mum, bro, the worst. So my mum is one of those people who can open a block of chocolate and eat like one piece.
No, that's
and
fucked.
put it away. Oh, it's ridiculous. I think she's definitely a psychopath.
Yeah.
And that one block of chocolate, if she wanted, could last her a month, or something. Whereas I'm like, it's open.
Yeah, eat it.
You can't seal it.
Yeah.
And I'll eat the whole thing. And so in our house,
they call that delayed gratification. We don't have that.
No.
Immediate
It's
gratification.
like that marshmallow experiment with kids.
I'd be terrible. I would have lost that.
Yeah, if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, there's a famous I don't know if it's a psychologist or whatever it was experiment, and I don't know the name of the psychologist, but the experiment is they get kids and they say you can have one marshmallow or chocolate or whatever it is. You can have one marshmallow now, or don't have that one marshmallow and you can have two marshmallows later.
Yeah, you got to wait like 10 minutes,
whatever it is.
They go out of the room, leave the kids with the marshmallow.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're recording them. And like some kids just sit there on their hands, like try to distract themselves. Some kids like pick at it.
Yeah.
Some kids like fuck it.
Yeah, some kids are just straight away like hop.
Yeah, there's one in particular on the video, on like the viral video. They put the marshmallow in front of this one little boy and it's like, you can have it now, or he's like, oh.
yeah.
Before the sentence
yeah.
over. And I think what they did is they did a follow-up on those same kids, and they tried to draw like a correlation between their delayed gratification and like other outcomes later in life and success outcomes and things like that. So it's like trying to determine whether or not your innate ability to delay gratification can make you more successful in like standard metrics. That was the whole purpose of it. Wasn't just to torture these kids and make funny videos, which
they are though.
And then parents on TikTok and everything like do the same thing and like try to run the experiment on their own kids, and hilarious results ensue. It's great.
Yeah. Have you seen there was, I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but it was called Magic for Humans, I think it was.
Magic for Humans. All right, send it. What is this?
So the magician did this experiment essentially with these kids, but it was like he was one of the participants as well.
Right.
So he's sitting across the table from the kid, and so the scientist in air quotes is like, oh, you guys can have one now or whatever later, and then would leave the room. So as far as the kid knows, this adult sitting across from him is part of this test as well.
Right.
But him being a magician, he does all this stuff like, eats his marshmallow and then, but then turns his cup over or something and like 20 more pour out. And like, so he just does all this stuff with,
the kids are like tripping balls.
And like eating the other kid's marshmallow and stuff, but then just making marshmallows appear or like puking them out of his mouth and all this funny stuff. It's great.
That sounds awesome.
Anyway, but this at my parents' house, my mum does this every year, like on this particular counter in the house that's right in the central part of the house. Like in a day, you'd walk past it 100 times. Just like sits this bowl of like chocolates and whatever. And, and then like, it's like, so I'm just like nonstop eating them. And then, it never gets empty, as soon as like a quarter of the chocolates have gone, it just gets filled up again. And like, it's just like the worst, bro.
I had a similar effect during Christmas where whenever I'd go home, there's obviously lots of chocolate. That's like, Christmas chocolate, whatever. It's always around. And I'd just fucking smash it. Because normally I don't eat chocolate regularly, or sugar stuff regularly, and you poke fun of me, say I've never had sugar or whatever, but there's a little bit of truth to that. But once like that dopamine is hit from chocolate, it's
go time.
Genie's out of the bottle. Like Pandora's box has been opened.
Yeah.
It's fucking go time. And so my mum thinks that that's like normal because I always come for Christmas, and that's how I always respond to the chocolates. So she's like, fuck, you really like chocolate?
Yeah.
But it's really bad. So
you don't know me, Mum.
So this Christmas, I just didn't have any. I just was like, nah, couldn't be fucked.
You didn't have any chocolate?
Not on Christmas Day when I went up to Newcastle to see family for Christmas. I didn't have any. I was just like,
yeah, crazy.
It was pretty low key Christmas this year, so it's all right. It's all right, man. What'd you get for Christmas?
Some shorts.
Yeah, I got clothes. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Not all I got. I just got clothes.
Got as well. So what we did is this is like a classic 15-minute intro that we have talked nothing about.
I'm thinking we just scrap positions. At this point, I'm thinking we've come too far. This is now the Christmas update.
If we get to 20 minutes and we're still talking about stuff, this might just be a catch-up episode.
I think it should be, yeah. Banter and bullshit will be the title.
Banter and bullshit, yeah. We did, this was new to me 2 Christmases ago. Like it was different names like Secret Santa and whatever, but this one called Silly Santa where you steal each other's presents. Have you played this?
No.
So this is way more fun with a substantial sized group of people.
Yeah.
So we did it 2 Christmases ago because it was like my family with my sister's partner's family.
Oh, wow.
You know, so there was like, and then all the like uncles and the kids and all the grandparents. So it was like quite a huge clump of adults. And so what you do, it's essentially Secret Santa, but you don't know who you're buying for. You just know, well, I'm buying a present for someone.
So it needs to be like a neutral present.
Ish. Well, it can be whatever you want, right? And it's got
obviously a price cap on it, like $50.
Yeah, whatever it is, like, you know, obviously relative to you and your group, whatever the price is. And the idea is that you take it in turns and you just pick one of the presents, right? So I'll go, okay, well, that one looks cool, and I'll pick it, right? And then you pick the present and you open it. Right? It kind of sucks to be the first person to go. You draw a name. No, yeah, you draw names out of a hat to determine the order that you go in. Right. And then you open the present. And so it sucks to go first. It's always best to go last, right? So, but you go first anyway. So then it's the next person's turn, or whoever's turn it is, they get to choose. They can either go and pick an unknown present from under the tree, or they can steal one of the current presents that's already been opened, right? And then so you would like steal their present and then give them one of the unknown presents.
Right.
So like obviously it's best to go last because then, you know, you kind of know what everything except one of the presents is.
Yeah.
So we did this 2 years ago and it was super fun because like, you know, it was like, I remember what we have like, you know, my wife had, it was something like, you know, some mugs and some teas that she really liked and whatever, like a little sort of package of tea and pots and things like that she really wanted. And there was only like one person left and she was like, I'm so close to getting what I want. And then someone stole it from her at the end. She's like, no, motherfucker. You know, my brother got these like thongs that were like, you know, those fish on the wall, like those ones, the singing fish that you see move, like essentially those, but thongs. Thongs or flip-flops, you know. No, he loved them. He was like, these thongs are the best. You know? And so we essentially did that, but because it was only one family, we didn't have enough people for the stealing aspect of it. So instead of having your typical Secret Santa where you draw a name and you're like, fuck, I could buy a present for this person. I don't know what they want, which is your standard Secret Santa.
Yeah.
We just did, okay, you're going to just buy a present and then we'll just take it in turns. Like you just pick one from under the tree. You don't know what it's going to be and unwrap it and that's your present. So that's what we did. And we got pretty good, like got some new coffee mugs, which are needed. And then my wife got probably the best present of the day, which was a framed artwork that my brother drew.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, he kind of cheaped out. I mean, he just like drew a picture.
One, yeah.
But no, like it's really good. I can show you his Instagram. You see the sort of art he does. There's a big frame picture of one of his artworks. So it was really cool. And yeah, that was it. Shorts and some mugs, bro. Like,
yeah, man.
Atlas got heaps of shit. My 3-year-old, he got heaps of shit.
Christmas is for kids. The older you get, the more you realize that it's not for anyone else. It's for kids.
Yeah, and the older you get, the more you value getting socks and undies.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, like that's all I got is like clothes this year. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah.
It's the best.
This is sick. But Secret Santa, because we do Secret Santa, we have a very big family. I'm one of 5 kids. So we do Secret Santa. And a lot of my nieces and nephews are also adults, like in their 20s and, you know, over the age of 18. So if you're 18 and up, you go in the adult Secret Santa pool. If you're under 18, you're in the kids pool and you get, you know, you just get
kid
presents.
Shit.
Yeah, kid shit. You get presents bought for you or gift cards or whatever the fuck they want. But yeah, so our Secret Santa is rigged because my mum does it. We don't put it in a random generator. She pulls she says, puts the names in a hat and pulls them out randomly, but she rigs it. She like fucking, oh, you can go with you can get you. She swaps around the end. And then what happens is every single year, people just go straight to my mum and go, oh, I've got this person. What do they want? and then she'll like just buy it for them. So my mum just buys presents for everyone, wraps fucking everyone. Like there's people that like for my sisters, for example, she'll generally buy whoever they have, she'll just buy it for them. And like they'll never see it. Like she might, they'll give her the money or whatever. And that's how it's done. And it's not like, you put a list of 3 things you want, you send links. So it's, exactly what you're going to get because you fucking linked it. Yeah, this year I sent a link to like a shirt and then lo and behold, I get the fucking shirt. Like it's so redundant. And I for the first time, I actually called mum out on it and I was like, hey, why do we even bother doing this? Why don't we just keep our $50? Because like, I don't really want to buy myself this present. If it was my choice, I probably wouldn't buy this shirt. So why can't I just keep the $50? This is so ridiculous because you're picking exactly what you want, like down to the link.
Well, she I don't know your mum, so I'm not sure how willing she is to spice things up, but suggest the stealing Santa
I think
thing.
I will.
It's quite fun. Like, and
we have a massive family, so it will work.
And I think the idea is like, I think our one, when we did it, the budget is low. Cause like, I feel like at least for the circle that I live in and my reality of living in, for Secret Santa, when it's like $50 is the price point, it's like, it's not enough money to buy something really good, but it's enough money that you can't really justify it being a shit present or a gag gift. But like when we did the silly one, it was like $20 was the limit. So it's more that like you can justify it just being some mugs, or you can justify it, being a mug that says "World's Shittest Dad" or something, like, because it's a lower, and then, more sort of embraces the novelty of like stealing, because at the end of the day, you don't really
it's 20
care.
bucks, no one gives a shit. Yeah.
Whereas like, anyway, it was fun and lots of laughs and whatever. So
but you're right. $50 is a very awkward price because it's not enough to get something like, I'm going to sound like a dickhead. It's not enough to get something good that you actually want, but it's like too much to be like, oh, just give me fucking whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's awkward. It's that awkward price point. But anything more than that, and it's, because you're buying for all these kids and you're buying for your own family, it's meant to be a novelty. So I think I'm going to suggest that we lower the price like $20 or $25 or whatever.
Go silly Santa.
And just go silly Santa and steal some shit. That'd be way more fun. Because like no one really gives a fuck about the Secret Santa. No one really wants whatever they.
Especially not in your family, because they just like buy it themselves anyway, essentially, by sending the link to your mum.
It's ridiculous. My mum literally buys everything for everyone. Like she's the arbiter of Christmas.
But at the same time, that's kind of cool if you're not really into Christmas. And
it's easy for me because I sent a link to a fucking Jiu Jitsu shirt and I got the Jiu Jitsu shirt.
What shirt did you get?
It says, like I sent a bunch because I was last minute. I didn't really give a fuck. I think the one I ended up getting, it says, eat, sleep, Jiu Jitsu, repeat. It's so gay.
So lame.
I have some pretty lame jiu-jitsu shirts. But yeah, that's all I wanted was just more jiu-jitsu shirts.
Fair call.
So see, we did talk about jiu-jitsu.
And we've come full circle. Yeah.
Comes full circle. 23 minutes.
So for 2023, the 23-minute mark, what's your...
Oh,
perfect.
Bro, goals.
Yeah, what's your goals for 2023?
Okay, so what we should have done is reviewed our. You remember when we did this in New Year's last time? We said my New Year's goals. I think mine was to do 400 jiu-jitsu sessions to win a gold medal at blue belt, and I think maybe something random like getting better at over under or some shit like that. That was my 3.
So I guess it would be on me to check the software to see if you did 400.
I did.
Yeah,
I already checked it.
Yeah, I'll check.
No, I did. I already checked it. I think I'm up to.
Yeah, I'll check.
Oh, actually, because
remember,
I'll log in right now. Adam.
No, but remember, on your end, it doesn't necessarily match my end. Remember, you checked once.
I checked the wrong number.
Oh, right.
So you can go into one thing
and check the
booked classes versus attended classes. It does show me. Except I was looking at the one I wanted to see, Adam. Let's be honest.
Fair enough. Well, you would have achieved all those goals then.
I did.
Because you definitely got better at over-unders, got a gold medal and 400 classes.
Yeah.
I can't recall what mine were.
Got a couple gold medals, actually. Got a few there, mate.
I can't recall what my goals were, but they were probably something along the lines of... I don't know, train jiu-jitsu.
Let's pause this. Look at it.
But,
that would have been a way better episode idea. God damn it.
But regardless of what my goals were, I think there was there would have been quite a spanner thrown in. I think probably actually, if I look back at this time last year, I was similar to now, recovering from a surgery. I mean, last December,
was your elbow,
well,
wasn't it?
December is in a month ago, I had knee surgery.
Yeah.
But yeah, December is in 13 months ago, I had elbow surgery and I had my sinus again. Remember, I did the 2 surgeries within 1 week.
Yeah, you did the first one and then the cleanup.
Yeah. So I think my goals would have been something along the lines of, recover from my surgeries, just get back to training properly and whatever.
It would have been.
So very similar to where I'm sitting today. However, regardless of whatever came after that, last year there was obviously not a spanner thrown in the works, but I guess the final straw or, the climax of a multiple year build up of leaving Alliance and starting Vantage Jiu Jitsu. So that would have essentially pushed whatever Jiu Jitsu goals I had to the side, because the rebrand of the gym and everything that came with that was a huge step. And that took, even though that wasn't one of my goals at the start of the year, I know for a fact I didn't sit here in January 2022 and say my goals for this year are to leave Alliance and rebrand the gym and whatever. So
Fabio enters the chat.
Yeah, so I didn't start 2022 with that in mind, but obviously as the year progressed and things got closer, that became quite a focal point of the because it wasn't like it on one day in. The rebrand, I think, happened on the 22nd of October officially, but obviously it was months prior to that that I knew I was going to leave Alliance.
Months. Like you started developing the Vantage website over 6 months before.
Yeah,
it was nearly a year in development.
Yeah, so it probably wasn't quite at the start of the year, but it would have definitely been in the first quarter of the year that idea started to grow and started to take up a lot of my time.
So you took action on it. All right, so let's put ourselves on the spot then, considering that this episode has been derailed from the jump.
How good is this? How good is this podcast?
You never know what you're going to get.
I would be interested to see at the what was it, the 14-minute mark where we were like, oh man, I'd say we just scrapped the positional series. Yeah,
I was thinking
I'd be interested to see how many people stop listening at that point.
Well, obviously the title's not going to be position series.
That's true.
But I had it in the back of my mind come 6 or 7 minutes into the intro. I'm like, oh yeah, this. Anyway, so 2023 goals. What are your? Let's do this. Let's maybe do 2 to 3 Jiu Jitsu specific, and then you can have 1 or 2 random ones you want to share if you want to share them.
Okay, so let's go Jiu Jitsu specific for me first. I'd just like to get back to regular training after this surgery. Yeah, obviously, ideally that should be quite a short-term goal for me.
That's not really a goal. That's something that you're just going to do.
That is, yeah. But I mean, it is also goal-worthy as someone who has had maybe not as many surgeries as some people, but definitely
you've had a lot
more jiu-jitsu related surgeries than a lot of other people I know. And a lot of people I know who actively compete at a much higher level than I do. And I've still had more surgeries than them. So it's, definitely.
No surgeries this year.
I would like that. I mean, I had 3 in 2022.
Fuck.
And then I made it to December in 2021, I had 3.
Yeah.
And then in 2022, I made it to December. And then I was like,
1.
shit,
Fuck, man, that's so many.
So that could be a goal, no surgeries. However, I will just say that sounds bad.
That's out of your control though.
No, yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess on the surface, you could look at that and think that I train irresponsibly or I don't do I don't stretch or I don't do whatever to help prevent injuries. But none of those surgeries were injury related. So 2021, 2 of those 3 surgeries were for a deviated septum, which it wasn't like I broke my nose. That's just something I've had since a kid, so that's a different thing. And then the elbow surgery was, yes, jiu-jitsu related, but it wasn't a trauma. It was years and years and years of bone spurs and bone fragments. It was years of wear and tear. It was a wear and tear surgery. So that was more of you're getting older surgery.
Yeah, body maintenance.
And that's the same with this bursa being removed. Like I said at the start, it's an uncommon surgery. The surgeon does like 2 of them a year, right? Very uncommon surgery. And it's just, again, from chronic inflammation of being on my knees, right? Having that knee on the ground, so outside of jiu-jitsu, who are the sort of people that get this surgery? Like tradies or carpet layers or tilers, anyone who is, constantly on their knees on the ground, and particularly tradies who are on hard ground, right? So yeah, those surgeries were not from me being irresponsible with training. They were wear and tear surgeries. But 2023 goals, no surgeries. That would be cool. Although I do like a medically induced nap. You cannot beat it.
Yeah.
That is the best nap you'll get.
Definitely going to sleep through.
Yeah. So is that
actually a goal? Because that's a little bit out of your control. That's not fair.
Yeah. No, but obviously I'd like to hopefully get this knee back. Like I really hope that the fluid does settle down
so you start
quickly and completely. Because even prior with the knee getting drained and everything, the fluid never fully went away. But the surgeon says, yeah, that's because the cause of the fluid was the inflamed bursa. Without the bursa, there's no cause. There's no cause to be generating that fluid. Yeah. But it's easier said than done. I do really just hope that this settles down completely.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. And so that's obviously a goal. But I guess like on top of that, I've put together like a bit of a rudimentary poor man's garage gym at the gym, right? Like it's not part of the facilities of the gym. It's just for private use, more or less.
Exclusive.
Yeah, sort of. Well, because it's in a garage that I share with someone else. So it's not like the gym's facilities where I can be like, hey guys, go down and use the weights. Don't let their dog out. Don't mind the little toddler they have running around. So I share the gym with someone, but I want to more consistently get back to lifting.
Ooh, so that's a good goal. That's a good goal. Lifting. How many times per week?
Oh, come on, bro.
Yeah, bro, come on, at least one.
Do you want realistic or you want? No, I would like to do twice a week.
Okay.
Realistically, if I lifted once a week, I'd be happy with that. But twice a week would be way better.
It's 52 sessions in a year.
I mean, I'm about to lose Andres, who's someone who took a bunch of my classes for me, which freed up some of my time.
What episode was he on? Like probably 5 ago or so? God, he was on recently.
Oh,
Check it out.
Not that long ago, but yeah. Anyway, so Andres, unfortunately, is going back overseas. So that means, from tomorrow, I pick up an extra 3 or 4 classes a week that I had him teaching, which is fine. Obviously, I'm happy to teach. It just means less time to do other things. Yeah. So, a goal would be, just lifting more regularly.
Find another instructor.
Yeah. Another goal is obviously continuing the growth of this is just a continual goal is obviously growing the gym and the team, but I guess it's more a more focused goal now because, we rebranded at the end of last year. So this will be the first full calendar year, as Vantage. Yeah. So this will be the first year where people will be able to compete under Vantage because last year, even though we rebranded in October, there was, I think, a couple of students who competed at the tail end of the year. They still competed under Alliance because, the membership with the team and all the team registrations were all still valid for the 2022 calendar year. So this will be the first year that people can compete under Vantage and all that sort of stuff. So, continuing the growth of the team this year is more of a focus goal than just your generic, obviously growing the business is just part of running a business.
Yeah, of course.
So growing the team in a more focused way and sort of connected to that would be a goal that maybe, I might wait 1 or 2 episodes until like officially announcing it, but there's just working with another gym that will also be competing, will also be sort of operating as Vantage, not like a franchise or affiliate. If people go back and listen to the episode as to why we left Alliance, you might instantly think, hang on, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. But no, so I don't mean like that. I don't have a problem with multiple gyms and teams being the same name and whatever and growing, like I said back in that episode, I just don't think the franchise model is the way to do it, right? So I might wait till there's just a few T's to cross and I's to dot, and then I might in a later episode officially be like, hey, there's also Advantage Jiu-Jitsu here. So that's another goal sort of connected to the growth of the team. And then maybe a personal goal is just to move house essentially. Like, I know that sounds a bit lame, but I mean, move house into a more adult house, in the sense that, you know, we've outgrown our unit where we live, and we've got a 3-year-old soon to be, he's almost 4 now. You know, he needs more space, and we want to do that more, sort of get a place with a yard and whatever. And it's very difficult to do in Sydney.
Very difficult to do in Sydney.
Yeah. So
a yard is that's a premium.
Yeah.
It literally comes at a premium in this place.
Yeah. So it's actually, I mean, connected to that was my surgery. I actually sold my Bursa to go towards the house deposit. Yeah, so that would be the personal goal is, you know, the family goal, I would say, is sort of to upgrade our domestic living space, if you will.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
they're my 3 goals: lift more consistently, and obviously, lift more consistently. You get better at jiu-jitsu, of course, but lift more consistently, grow the team in a more focused way, and I'll expand on that in a later episode, and improve my domestic living arrangements.
That's awesome. Those are 3 really awesome goals.
Your turn.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. I was trying to think about what mine would be. And
this whole time you were trying to listen and think.
Yeah, well, I wasn't doing much thinking. So I think if we be realistic, you know, where I'm at in my jiu-jitsu journey, I think this year it's not unrealistic for me to achieve a black belt. So maybe.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you mention that, because there's a course that there's a course that you can get.
Oh,
it essentially is about fast tracking your jiu-jitsu
I'll
progress.
check that out. I'll put that on the list.
Yeah, I can't recall the name, so unfortunately I can't, reference it directly. But I mean, I'll
just have a Google.
I'll remember.
Fast tracking jiu-jitsu.
I'll remember it. Yeah.
So my biggest goal is probably to join Gracie University online.
Yep. Yeah, you could, and then get your blue belt.
Yeah, get a real blue belt,
one
from a credible source. Shit, I think my biggest goal is to update the Jiu-Jitsu podcast art.
Oh shit!
Did you see? I ran a poll on Spotify.
Oh, did you? No, I didn't.
Spotify has these sick new options where you can like ask questions per episode, like specifically about the episode.
They're trying to get into a bit more of that
community engagement, like podcasting,
social
YouTube,
media sort of interaction.
I'm all for it, and it's sick. We've gotten some awesome responses. So big shout out to anyone that's actually replied to these questions, which is really cool. And I put out a poll on our Spotify, and it was something along the lines of like, should the artwork be updated? And overwhelmingly, we had a yes result.
Can I see? Is it?
You can't see the results on Spotify itself. I don't believe. I actually haven't.
Like you would see. You
I see the
obviously
numbers.
Like
I don't know. Maybe you can if you look it up. You might be able to find it, but I haven't actually filled it out myself. But I get it all. Where does the
poll come up? Like, so
I have no idea. I haven't seen it. I have no idea. So but for those that have seen it, awesome.
Maybe it was just one person and they ticked yes.
No. I can see how many people.
But where's it? So like I'm looking. This is good for anyone listening who's like me, being like, "What? I'm unaware of these."
To be honest, I haven't actually investigated. I just because we change platforms. In the back end, we changed our podcasting host to Spotify's specific podcasting host. So through that host, you have more options because it's, the software's run by Spotify.
I would just like to know where it is. Because I have no idea where it is. I'm on Spotify and I'm on the podcast
Maybe it's a beta.
page.
Maybe it's a beta. Maybe they've only rolled it out to like North America or something.
Yeah, because remember a while back there was a new beta for
video. When they released video.
No. Was it Instagram? There was something. I can't.
Yeah, it was the new Instagram page, and then
that's right. And it essentially changed to TikTok or something or whatever.
So your
the way the feed worked.
Has it gone back?
Yeah, it's gone back. So they obviously reverted
Scrapped it. Yeah,
so there was
I
only,
never saw it.
it didn't happen to your account. And remember I showed you that
silly.
On my account it happened, but on the podcast account it hadn't been. So it was only certain. It could be the same with this because I'm on the Spotify page on.
When they rolled out video on Spotify, they only released it to certain countries, and Australia was one of those. So we got video on Spotify first, and then they rolled out to the rest of Spotify users. So maybe it's like that, but I'll have to investigate where it's coming up. But
hang on. Okay, so here we go. So for those curious as well,
you found it.
So if we're just on the podcast Spotify page, like it's not there.
Yeah.
But if we go in and play an episode,
it pops up.
All right. And now the episode window's playing and the video's playing, and we scroll down.
There it is.
Now it is.
Oh, so it is. You can see the results.
So poll, should we update Kieren's belt color on the artwork? I mean, out of 9 votes.
Yeah, well, fuck.
78% say yes.
That's good numbers.
Give Kieren the blue belt.
That's good numbers.
No, he will always be a white belt. Can we see who? No. I don't know if you could see. I don't know if you could see if you logged in at the No.
It's all private information.
God damn it.
That's sensational. That's excellent.
So
and I get messages.
So
on
you
Instagram
must have multiple Spotify accounts if you've gone in and
funny. No, I just send it to all my friends. Like, I'll pay you $20 to go vote on this. No, but now that we've mentioned it, people are hopefully going to find it, because we do have a lot of Spotify listeners, but some people still on YouTube, not as many. But anyway,
so update the artwork's a goal.
Yeah, cool. to convince you to let me update the artwork.
It's like this thing that you can do by yourself, but I'm like,
I don't
like. Do I actually want to do it?
I don't.
It was so funny last night. Chad, who we've mentioned, I wish I was videoing this. So Chad's a guy in the gym who we've mentioned a lot of times, a Canadian guy who is the furthest from a Chad, as in the male version of a Karen, could not be less of a Chad, yet could not be any other name other than Chad. Yeah, it's bizarre. Anyway, big, strong dude. He's rolling with you and went hard right at the start. Not hard as in dickishly hard, just was like, well, we're rolling, you
just fucking
high
launched
five knuckles, let's go.
Put me straight in a fucking cradle. I'm like,
all right. And then you're like, all right, that's how it's going to be. And then I was sitting right next to it, and he's like, I'm scared, coach. I saw red in his eyes. And he's like, and then he's like holding you down in like, sort of like a sprawl position, like he's sprawled on your shot sort of position. He's like almost chin strapping you, and he's looking at me. He's like, coach, I'm genuinely scared, coach. It was so funny.
No, it was fine. It was totally chill. But yeah, I didn't expect it, because like I thought he was going to come in chill, and then he just fucking launched on like a cradle.
Angry wombat.
Yeah, crazy fucking wombats.
You've had enough time to think about your goals.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, my goal of like showing up to X amount of classes, that was good, sort of a motivator, because I was thinking of it in the back of my mind last year, but I don't want to do the same thing because I'm not going to be able to track it this year, unfortunately. Yep. So I think that my goal for when I don't even know if I've announced that I'm moving.
I don't believe you have, not in any episode. Well, because I think you were probably in your mind thinking, I'll wait until we have
confirmation.
Well,
blah, blah, blah.
Not necessarily confirmation, but confirmation as to the logistics of,
Oh, the podcast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fuck, you may as well say it now. People are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, the podcast is shutting down. No, it's not. The podcast, nothing's happening to the podcast. I'm actually moving to Sweden. I'm moving to Europe. So I am leaving the gym temporarily. I will be back one day. Just when that is unknown at this time. So I'm moving in April to Sweden. I'm not going to reveal my exact location, but it's within 2 hour proximity.
A small country, they'll find you.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not many places you can look. It's within a 2 hour radius of Stockholm. And I do already have a gym lined up. They're not a Jiu Jitsu specific gym. They're more of a martial arts gym that has a Jiu Jitsu program. I've trained there before. Going to check that out. So setting like a specific number of classes is
hang on. Whoa. Yeah.
Right,
but let's just, to not leave people like in the dark. As for the podcast.
We're going to run it. This quality will remain the same. Yeah. The consistency of the upload will not change.
The only thing that will change is when you're watching the video, it won't be, me and Kieren sitting across in person anymore. Yeah. It will be
a video link, but we're going to set it up so that it's not, those podcasts that one host is clearly recording and the other host is clearly
The other person is
yeah.
It's good to see you, Karen.
Yeah, that's a sample. Yeah, you can hear the difference in quality. What we're going to do is we're going to record both audios separately on each end and then sync them together. I'm going to figure something out to make it high quality so that it's really good. As an example, as to how this can be done, the Elbows Tight podcast recently did an episode with Jordan. Jordan teaches Jiu Jitsu, and that's what they did. They recorded separately on both ends because Jordan obviously has a podcast himself, has a podcasting setup, and then they in post put the audio together. So it was all tickety boo, and it sounded great. It sounded like they're in the room together. So that's what we're gonna do. That's a very similar camera setup that we're gonna have. So instead of looking at each other, we're gonna be looking at the camera. So it may feel more personable.
Maybe.
Yeah, great things are coming.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm actually kind of almost more excited about it in the sense that
you don't have to drive.
yeah, but more because, you know, obviously sitting here and doing the podcast is great, but it's also, I don't know, just in terms of psychologically, it's like whether we record the podcast or not, it's like, well, I see you every day at the gym, you know, whereas now it's kind of going to be like, you know, even though through WhatsApp, I'm sure there'll be communication all the time, whether it's jiu-jitsu related or just like, hey, I miss your face and stuff.
I love it.
But, you know.
He's the nudes you asked for.
Yeah. But it's going to be like, it's going to be, you know, each time we record a podcast, it's also going to be like a genuine catch up as well. Like it's going to be like, hey, man, I haven't seen you for a week.
Yeah,
you know, like, so all those little, you know, funny anecdotes and banter stories that
they're going to be genuine.
They're going to be genuine, or that, you know, you telling me stuff that you guys don't hear on the air of, you know, talking about, just organically talking about, you know, man, I had this dude in this position and this happened, or what. All those conversations for us happen as they happen because we're in the gym all the time. And so I'm looking forward to, I think it's going to almost to some degree be better.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm still hella sad though. It was just probably why I haven't announced it, or I don't like talking about it. I was trying to keep it super hush hush, but somehow I told someone in like private and they didn't know that it was like not public information yet. So they brought it up in front of other people and then it snowballed. It's like, so everyone knows now. And that happened like end of last year, but I didn't want to like make it public because I'm fucking hella like sad to leave the gym. Like it is really.
I don't know why. We're pretty stoked about it.
Some people might be. But I mean, as weird as this sounds, like for a lot of people, jiu-jitsu is a hobby. But for me, it is more, it's more than a hobby. It's become like a fundamental part of your life. Yeah, it's a fundamental part of my life. And I'm like slowly but surely over time, particularly people that have been, you know, following the journey for a while, I'm like making it my full-time career. And I've mentioned that in the podcast previously, like I want to teach and I have all these aspirations. Obviously, I'm a bit old to do the competition route, but you know, there's other venues and other avenues to make jiu-jitsu your career. And that's something that I am pursuing. So it's more than a hobby to me. And leaving the place where I first started, you know, I trained there fucking, you know, 400 times last year. I've had like over 500 sessions, but even despite that, we have the podcast I see every day. We you know, talk for hours a week about jiu-jitsu specifically. So it's become such a huge thing. Well. Sorry?
Talk about our feelings too.
Yeah, sometimes. Go you.
So it is. I mean, look,
it's important.
Yeah, it's always sad to leave. Well, it's sad to leave any gym that you know, create relationships at. But I guess I'll give you a 2023 goal there. I'll give you one.
Give me one.
So I guess then,
stalling.
Look, I guess for you, you know, it would be reestablishing a consistent, you know, sort of not a consistent training regime, but I mean, reestablishing like, this is my gym, this is where I'm training, like getting jiu-jitsu wise, getting set up again. You know?
Yeah, and I have plans to do that. And this isn't taking anything away from, you know, my future training partners at the new gym. Like I don't really know them at all or whatever. Like I'm not going to say anything because they may listen to this one day retroactively.
Bro, you were like shitting on me. You hadn't even met me.
Yeah, bro. No, so I have a plan to, again, this is not taking anything away from an instructor, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to start to take the approach of learning via my, like, not that I'm a black belt, but
there's
like
a gym website that has like a video portal thing.
Gracie,
like,
university?
Oh. No, but yeah, we've mentioned before, like, the Vantage website has a login for members, which, I mean, I'll have to cancel your login.
Yeah, of course.
But, so there's, videos uploaded there and stuff. Obviously, there's so much online content nowadays.
Well, that's what I was like leaning into. It's taking that more black belt style, because you've mentioned before that a lot of your progression in your jiu-jitsu came from, well, not a lot of your progression, but you still progressed as a black belt, but learning was different. You had to learn in different ways you had enough knowledge and enough experience to workshop your own problems and to seek out different resources and to, learn a different unconventional way, but you still progressed via teaching. So that's something I want to do. Is I don't think I'll be able to rock up to this new gym, especially because it's not in English. The classes are taught in a different language, and start teaching. But that's something I want to do, is to start teaching at this gym after I've been established 6 months, maybe rudimentary Swedish, because my Swedish is dog shit, but whatever, and get teaching, or at least teach myself or teach people around me or whatever. So I want to take that role of learning to progress my jiu-jitsu. My biggest fear is going from a gym that is purely jiu-jitsu, has an amazing jiu-jitsu program, and go to a gym that, they only have a black belt 3 days a week, I think 2 or 3 days a week, because the black belt's split between. The other classes are taught by purple belts, and I just don't want to go from like what I'm used to, the privilege that I have, to something that may not be what I'm used to, and my jiu-jitsu will be stalled. I don't want to put myself in that position.
Yeah, and I mean, that isn't to say that I don't want this to sound like what we do is the only way to do it. Obviously, it's not. I mean, I try to replicate how the training was done for me in Brazil.
Yeah.
And the instructors' courses I've done and the things I've learnt doing those. But yeah, I've had heaps of students. You go and train at other gyms, whether they're visiting or whatever, or traveling, whatever it is, and they come back and say like, fuck man, like other gyms are so shit. Like, just as in like the way they teach and whatever, and the way they run the whole place. Oh man, it's so bad. I didn't realize how good it was, blah, blah, blah. And I know that sounds a bit wanky. I mean, at the same time, I've had people leave the gym because they don't like the way that I run the gym and teach. So you can't keep everyone happy. But so it sucks to kind of leave, and go somewhere where things might operate differently, but they might do it better, or they might do it, maybe not better, but different. And it might be just as good, but different, like.
I don't even know if they have no gi, because they have all their jiu-jitsu is gi, and I think they do freestyle wrestling, and that's their no gi. So that's
just start like a little worm. Just start wiggling your way.
Yeah, just bro. Fucking, hey, I'm the new guy. How about we add some shit to the timetable? I'll be that guy that's like, that rocks up to your gym. Why don't we have classes on Sunday? How about you do an open mat on Sunday? Everyone will love it.
Yeah, I had this guy. He was like, hey, so we have classes Monday to Saturday, and I teach Monday to Saturday. The only day we're closed is Sunday. And I had someone be like, man, like, I think be like really good to have a class. Like, I'm thinking like 6, 7 a.m. on Sundays. I reckon it'd pop off. And I'm like,
shut up.
I'm like, dude, like no one's going to come. I said, yeah, you find someone to teach it. You run that class, bro. No one's coming to that class. A, you're not going to find anyone to teach it.
Yeah.
B, no one's turning up.
Yeah, straight up. That's a bad idea.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's funny.
Obviously, reestablishing your new jiu-jitsu home.
Yeah.
I gave you that. So come on, you got at least one of your own goals, Kieren.
Well, I don't want to just say, I'll get better at heel hooks, because I'm working on leg locks in my guard at the moment. But I think that in terms of, if I've looked at my jiu-jitsu, and this is something I spoke to you about, and this is based on competition results and results in the gym, is as soon as I'm on my back, I'm like, kind of like a tortoise, right? Tortoise, like a snapping turtle or a snapping tortoise, like they can be pretty aggressive, right? You chuck them on their back, they're fucked. That's how I felt. Like as soon as I got on top, I could fucking hang with the best of them in the gym, and that was my position. Like I get on top, I'm good. But if I'm in guard, I'm like, fuck, how do I get back on top? So I want my guard to be more dangerous. And so that's why I've been looking at leg locks. But what I'm finding is my guard in no-gi is fucking pretty good. It's not as good as my top game, but it's getting way better. I'm more dangerous. I'm, doing well there. for my belt, that is. However, in gi, I can't leg lock people in gi. So now I'm like, oh shit.
What do I do?
What have I done? I've like focused in on a specialty, and now I'm getting to the point where I hate gi now. So I always go, back and forth. I'm like, fuck, gi sucks because I can't play my guard game that I'm working on. So I think my big evolution, I want to be as dangerous on my back as I am on top. I want to be as dangerous in the guard as I am when I'm attacking and passing. So that is my next evolution to complete my game. It's coming there. Like it's gotten so much better in the last like couple months, even like so much fucking better. My guard retention is way better. So I'm struggling on how to make that into an actionable goal rather than just being, get better at guard, because it's always going to get better.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyway, that's get better at guard.
And then one more.
So you had 2 jiu-jitsu.
Well, I mean, I think your personal one would be pretty self-explanatory as well, which is, I mean, it's no easy feat moving house, moving cities, moving states, moving countries.
No, I've got one. Get one stripe.
Get a stripe. Bro. He wants to change the artwork and get a stripe.
Oh, shit.
Holy shit.
No, fuck that.
This guy's pushing it.
Oh, man, that's funny. But so that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yeah, so I guess there's a decent amount on the cards for 2023. I'll tell you what's also on the cards for 2023. Next episode, positional series.
Yeah, got to continue that. We're going to finish that off.
Yeah, I mean, because there's still quite a few episodes to go. Next episode's going to be side control. I don't know if we mentioned that at the start, that's what we were intending to talk about.
I don't think so.
However, so we've already done back control. We've done mount. We're going to do side control next. And then after side control, make our way to guard. Obviously, guard there's multiple types of guards. But yeah, side control will be the next one. We won't derail it. Side control next episode. That's a 2023 goal.
That's a promise.
And yeah, it's going to happen.
Shit.
But yeah, otherwise, look, let's leave that as our catch-up banter episode. Minimal jiu-jitsu talk. That's what we're good at here. Guys, thank you. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. Apparently there's a poll on Spotify. I would, I would appreciate if people could vote no on that poll.
And I would appreciate if everyone was, if we get enough votes, we will change the artwork.
Yeah.
How many votes do we need?
Enough votes saying like total.
Yeah, but like obviously it needs to be more than 51%.
No, I'd say if we get even if it's just 2 or 3 votes in the no, I'm happy.
Oh, fuck off. We've already got one. We've got one vote.
Yeah, I've said it before. I'll say it again. Once you get your purple belt, we'll change the artwork to blue, all right?
That's such a fucking... That's bullshit.
We'll change it one day. Maybe that'll be your departing gift to Sweden. Here, have an artwork change.
You bastard.
Yeah, guys.
Oh, shit.
And also, bit old news now, but remember we did take all the YouTube episodes. If you have a habit of sometimes watching on Spotify and YouTube, which may seem silly now that Spotify has the video on there. But anyway, if you're unaware, we do have the new YouTube channel where the podcast YouTube channel, all the episodes previously were on Kieren's YouTube channel. They're now on the podcast YouTube channel. And last but not least, let me give a shout out
Drum roll.
to Mark. I won't say his last name because last time once we mentioned someone's full name and got in trouble. Mark, a new Patreon. Yeah, like the wife listens and like, Mark, what the hell are you doing fucking signing up to more Patreons? I told you no. But yeah, Mark, thank you for becoming a Patreon. Much appreciated, my man. Guys, thanks again for listening. Next week or some point 2023, positional series continues. Until then.
Catch up.